Patrick McNeil joined now on the broadcast by name familiar to Cape Breton hockey fans, I'm sure, former QMJHL defenseman and now head coach of the Bantam Joneljim Cougars, James Sanford, and his Cougars had a big win to start the playoffs this past weekend. James, tell us about that.
It's pretty exciting going into the playoffs here. We kind of struggled in the standings this year, but we had a goal this year to try to get to provincials, and we stuck with the plan, and we played the Gulls first game here on Saturday, and Alex Christmas did a great job coming up with a big OT win. It just showed the team stuck together and played hard and played for each other. Pretty exciting time over there at the Emira.
For those unfamiliar, 12 teams in the league. They match up 1 through 12, and then the 6 winners go on to provincials. Your team finds itself 11th in the regular season. As you said, not high in the standings, obviously. Was it expected to be maybe a bit of a rebuilding year? What were the thoughts going into the season?
We knew we were going to struggle a little bit. We only had 4 returning players, but I liked the group of kids that we had, and we knew it was going to be a little bit of a process, but we tried to stay positive all year. And it's hard for us down here in Cape Breton. We're kind of behind the 8 ball to start the season. We travel a lot more than any other team in the league, and it takes a while for us to get going at times. We really kind of stuck with the program, and the kids this year were unbelievably positive, and they were so great this year. Every day they came to the rink, and they were just excited to be there. And after Christmas here, the team really kind of started to catch our stride. I think we had the 4th or 5th best record in the league after Christmas. So we started out 0-10, so it's kind of hard to dig yourself out of that hole when you start like that. But after Christmas, we really kind of turned a corner, and the kids really started to understand how to play and how to play together. And it's been a lot of fun here for sure.
Players get in the limelight earlier and earlier, it seems, these days. Who are some of the key players to watch on this Cougars team?
We got 4 guys who came back from last year. Alex Christmas, from member 2, is our top scorer this year. Really kind of took charge that way. Our captain, Tyson LaFrenz, he's done a great job as a captain and as a leader, and really kind of settled down our back end. Another guy, James Jobs, another defenseman. He doesn't get as much limelight because he doesn't get the points and stuff like that. But as we know, you need all different kinds to win as a team. And he does a great job on the penalty kill. He's a real physical presence out there. And another kid from Glace Bay, Parker Hutchins. He probably had his best game of the 2 years he played here with us. On Saturday, he got the first goal, and he was a beast all over the ice. And it's important for us as a team to have those guys step up and do those things, because they were there with us last year when we got to the semifinals and provincials, and they've been in these big games. And it's huge for those 4 guys to lead the way for us.
One thing that stood out this year in terms of news for the Cougars is they had a set of games scheduled against the Valley, and the Valley gets into an accident on their way. Thankfully, nobody was seriously injured, but there were some noteworthy injuries. How much did that shake the psyche of your team? And has that put everything into perspective when something like that happens?
Yeah, that's what we try to talk to our team about. Obviously, we're here to become better players and try to win hockey games, but at the end of the day, it is a game. In the hockey community, in our league here, we're one family, and we want the best for everybody, and those things unfortunately do happen at sometimes. And like you said, we were lucky that nobody got hurt, significantly hurt, I should say, and our guys understand more than anybody because, like I said, most of the teams in this league have 2 away weekends all year, and we're on the road 14, 15 weekends out of the year, so we understand that very well here in Cape Breton, and we're just happy that nobody was hurt. We could continue on the season without any other incidents.
Now, I'm sure people from the Sydney Rush, the major midget team in Sydney, keep a close eye on what's going on with the Cougars. How much more so has that been the case this year, given that the Rush are hosting TELUS Cup next season?
With Willie McDonald and Ryan Sparlett and Troy there, I know all 3 of those guys very well. We stay in close contact throughout the year, throwing around different ideas and how our kids are doing and how they're moving forward. For them, we try to keep in touch and try to see where everybody is and what's going on. Obviously, each year you try to focus in on your team and what you're trying to do that year, but we always try to keep in touch with each other and try to make everything better around here as one group.
You mentioned the schedule. What does the average week look like for the Cougars? How often is this team on the ice practicing, and what's the practice-game ratio look?
What we do is we have our regular full-team practices on Tuesday evenings and Thursday evenings. Wednesday morning, we have what we call somewhat of a skill session, where our goaltenders get to work with our goalie coach, Sheldon Burton. I'll usually try to bring the D or the forwards, depending on each week, and kind of focus in a little bit more skill-specific stuff for those positions, depending on the schedule. Last week, for example, leading to the playoffs, we had a full team practice on Wednesday morning, but usually we're on the ice 3 days a week for practice, and then we play 2 games on the weekends, Saturdays and Sundays.
You look at this Gulls team, it's a best-of-3 series. You get the game 1 at home, and then the next 2 games are up there. What does this matchup look like? How did things go in the regular season when you played them?
We played them 3 times. We played them twice early on in the season here at home. We lost both games. They were fairly lopsided for them, but the last game we played against them was probably about 3-4 weeks ago up there in their barn, and we ended up losing 5-2, but it was one of those games where it's like 2-1 with 10 minutes left, and we had a power play. We didn't score. They get a power play. They scored. Next thing you know, it's 5-2, but we were obviously right in that game, and we had confidence going into this series that we play our game and we do what we do best. We're going to give ourselves a chance to win, and at the end of the day, that's all you're trying to do is just give yourself a fighting chance. And these kids here in Cape Breton South, we're fighters, and we're going to get in there and give ourselves everything we got to give ourselves a chance.
We'll be watching and looking forward to seeing the results. Best of luck to the Cougars and you, James. Thanks for this.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
That's James Sanford. He is the head coach of the Major Bantam Cougars, who are likely on the ice as you're hearing this for Game 2 of their playoff series. You're listening to the intermission of Carstar, Cape Breton Eagles Hockey, 1270 CJCB.